We won't go too heavily into all of the WWE financials, but Brandon Thurston and I did a show earlier today going through all of the earnings notes from Thursday's report and the earnings call that featured Nick Khan and a heavy emphasis on Vince McMahon and the strategic alternatives, and pretty much just laying things out of, the company. They did record revenue, record profits for 2022. They expect to break those records in 2023. And, saying more than maybe you would have thought in terms of Nick Khan, both on this call and then on CNBC earlier today, and stating that a sale, if one is to happen, it could happen very quick, and ballparking 3 months as a possible timeline that they could close a sale if there is one that meets their requirements of what they are looking for here. But nonetheless, I guess the big takeaway was Nick Khan being asked about Vince McMahon and if his involvement under a new ownership group would be necessary. And Vince McMahon has allegedly told them that, no, I will not stand in the way of that. I will walk away from this company if it means a better deal and they do not want me attached, which is notable because I would think like Vince McMahon is going to be a difficult figure for some of these larger companies to navigate in these sale talks, that they may want the company, they do not want the baggage.
Something between, I think, the conference call and also the CNBC interview told me is that the stench of Vince McMahon has very much permeated to the mainstream. To the point now where even CNBC interviewers are, asking this as one of the few questions in a very short interview. And I think, with this sort of company line from Nick Khan and Paul Levesque, I mean, they are very well aware of, what a scarlet letter, the name Vince McMahon is attached to the company.
Wait a minute. Paul said it's great to have Vince around. This is great.
I guess great, in what aspect? I mean, he has to say that, but I mean, as far as it relates to creative, I think they are keenly aware, and it almost seems like an admission that things are far better now creatively with Vince McMahon not around. But even in I imagine the context of this interview with CNBC, for instance, I mean, it's all the baggage that is attached to him from a PR perspective that I'm sure companies don't want either. So it's very much, it's going to be hard for him to explain, if he does make a full-on return. But of course he has ultimate power, and what scenario other than the Saudis can you see with him being firmly attached? Does Vince stay in a role that he used to have?
I would say that you are looking at any of these companies that would have the belief that Vince McMahon is somehow an asset to them, and as much as all of the allegations would steer you away from this figure, if they perceive a value in Vince McMahon, they will overlook and excuse all of that.
Does that honestly exist though right now? Look at the shape of the company right now.
I mean, I don't know if that is going to exist, but for years and years, we always heard the belief that if something were to happen to Vince McMahon, what would happen to the stock? What would happen to this company? I don't think that's reality, but you don't know.
But it's been proven otherwise. It's been the opposite for the last half of this year.
Well, they may believe as well of the fact that, okay, Nick Khan he has a few more years. He has 2.5 years left on his deal. Stephanie McMahon's gone. Shane McMahon's gone. We don't quite know, what is Paul Levesque's capacity to run an entire company. And they might view Vince McMahon as like, this is this guy's life. And someone may want Vince McMahon, would rather have him inside rather than on the outside. I mean, that's, it's years of having that legacy attached to this brand of entertainment. But I would imagine that's probably an unlikely conclusion that a lot of these people doing their serious due diligence are going to come to, that Vince McMahon is necessary. In fact, it could be the opposite, that it is necessary that this individual be removed because this is a company that it is in very capable hands, and Vince McMahon is a detriment. And you had a unanimous board vote that stated as much, but were overruled.
Who would you say are the front runners right now if you had to, at this point in the conversation of who WWE could possibly sell to?
I definitely came away with this interview and the statement from Nick Khan on the call less inclined to believe the Saudi option is as prevalent as we might have looked at. It looks like that is a straight, monetarily, it is probably able to exceed any other offers, but it really believes like they are looking beyond just money. I mean, Nick Khan said as much. We're looking for more than a partner with deep pockets. So I would be looking very seriously at Endeavor. I would say as much as, it seems like, David Farber was the analyst on CNBC who flat out said he doesn't believe Comcast is going to buy this. And, I'm sure he is very well sourced on that.
Their parent company.
It's the parent company of CNBC. Nick Khan is stating, Nick Khan is going to say we're bullish on everyone. He wants as many,
offers.
As many people perceive to be at the table as possible. But as I break it down, like to me, it makes a lot of sense for Comcast. I think it's a real blow for them if they lose it, especially to another media entity that in any way would challenge Raw's status on USA. That would be a big blow to them to lose Raw. And consequently, Peacock, I think, having the rights to the WWE network, if that were to shift based on change in ownership. Now, that's not to say that they could sell to Endeavor and Endeavor negotiates new rights with NBC Universal or Fox. But I would say, just based on the lay of the land, you would have to look at Endeavor as a very realistic possibility. And an executive from Endeavor has said as much, we would be very interested in looking at this. They found a lot of success with UFC, and WWE there's a lot of similarities.
And the analysts, making some sort of allusions to potentially some sort of tax savings maneuver that might come with, that sort of consolidation of the two brands as well. So, it seems like they, at least at this point in time, a lot of the talk seems to be headed towards towards Endeavor in terms of momentum.
Think about what we were looking at last summer, where you had UFC 276 and Money in the Bank both in Vegas, and the idea that Endeavor could take a UFC on a Saturday night and you have WWE the next night, and you can have piggybacking off each other. It would be.
Or just, deals with buildings, deals with, pay-per-view companies, deals with networks, bundling a package where that combines the UFC and a WWE offering. There's a lot of potential.
It's like a Friday night slap fight, Saturday UFC, Sunday WWE. I mean, it's all of this.